Hey, so thank you so much for your patience and your time. Good afternoon. My name is Crystal Victoria. Forgive me for my mix up in times, but I'm glad I was on it when I was. I'm really excited to share with you all today uh, a little bit about my organization and what we do, but more importantly, um, a really unique concept that we established that helps us to take entrepreneurs to the next level. So if I'm looking at two screens, it's because I have video here, presentation here, another screen with some other stuff on it. So bear with me as I bounce around to make this all work. So this session is called Inspiring Entrepreneurship and Cultivating Communication Skills, Building Confidence using Retail. And a little bit about me and my organization. I'm founder and executive of Target Evolution. I've written and published 6 books in a college textbook. In 2011, I established Target Evolution, which is a nonprofit that helps kids ages 8 to 18 earn money using experiential learning in retail environments. And so by doing so, we've helped over 700 students. Uh, we've helped over 700 students earn money in top malls, confidence, skills, as well as generate sales over $150,000. So over the past 4 years, we've built 6 retail stores called Trailblaze. And it's a team-based pop-up shop which only sells products created by local youth entrepreneurs in the community around the store. They also help run and manage the store. We've established stores in Dallas and Houston. We've also secured partnerships with Macy's and Brookfield Property Group, which is the second largest mall owner in the country. They own about 160 malls nationwide for the goal of expanding our footprint and offering this opportunity to other communities. So as you can see, we've been pretty popular in Dallas and Houston, lots of media attention. Just this last year, we were invited to do a giveaway on Good Morning America to a set of kid entrepreneurs, which was a lot of fun. But essentially, these are our Trailblaze stores. And so it's gone through a significant evolution. And so our first store was like a little pop-up. It was like maybe 400 square feet. It was in the back of a store in the Galleria, Houston. And when we looked at the model, we said, we got to keep this. And it's so funny how I just heard the previous speaker talking about what it's meant for you to do something, because it's like exactly what happened. It was like meant for us to do this because as we looked at the lessons that the kids were learning, as we looked at how everything came together, I said to myself, we've got to make this work some kind of way. And it was a group of parents that worked with my team and we just made it happen. And so we grew. And our first store opened in December of 2019. December 2019, before the world went AWOL. We'll say that. And so we opened our second store, which is a kiosk here in Memorial City Mall. And COVID came and shut the world down. And of course, you know, shopping malls were not open for a couple of months. However, that strengthened our resolve because we knew that we were onto something and we just wanted to figure out how to make that work. And so, you know, 6 months delayed, we opened our first inline store at Galleria Dallas, then opened a fourth store at the Galleria Houston, which was our largest store. And then a cool thing happened when we got the partnership with Brookfield Property Group and Macy's. And they pretty much came to us and said, we want to help you expand this concept, but that means you need to move to our malls. And so we're like, okay. So then we moved and launched smaller stores inside of Brookfield's malls, which one was a cart. We tested that out. And then another inline at First Colony Mall in Houston. And so as you can see, I've been doing this, and this has been an interesting couple years building a brick and mortar location in the middle of the world closing down in a public place. If I tell you I was stressed out, I don't think that's the word, but we made it through it. And the lessons that I've learned from this experience is worth their weight in gold, as well as the connections and the relationships. So there's a lot of youth entrepreneurship programs out there. And then the challenge that, from my perspective, you see a lot of these programs that are either teaching kids about business plans or pitching investors, neither of which is the reality for a kid who wants to start a business and earn money now. So what we aspire to do with Target Evolution is be the resource that kids need when the rubber meets the road, when business gets real, and lessons need to be applied in a practical, real world environment. But not only being a resource for the kids, being a resource for the parents, because a lot of times the parents are the reason and inspiration behind the kids' business, and they're willing to support. And so not only do the kids need good support and training, we have to think in terms of what the parents need. And thus we're able to build an entire ecosystem with lots of partners and resources that help create pipelines for kids to move through these ecosystems and to the life of their dreams. And so entrepreneurship ecosystems are not just for adults and investors and mentors. They can be designed for youth and the organizations that serve them. And so in this picture, we have some pictures of the inside of the store, some of the kids' products, different versions of pop-ups we did, our Monopoly themed display window. And then this was the picture in the center. It is actually like a pop-up section that we did in Macy's and that we continue to do a couple times a year or a couple times a month, whenever I guess we kind of decide. What we're looking though as is a longer term, more strategic, permanent arrangement with Macy's. And so being that we have two avenues to do this, we can either expand through a national retailer or expand through national shopping malls. We're evaluating which one of these choices would be best for us as we grow and open up new communities. So a little bit about how this works, because I know you're like, okay, kids in a store, retail, where did their products come from? How does all this work? So Target Evolution, essentially, we provide three major programs and products. So what we found is the easiest way to help a kid start a business and just learn the skills is by helping them sell a simple product first. Okay. And a product-based business is the easiest way to teach them from our perspective. Kids are able to learn how to sell, communicate, negotiate. They're able to build the habits and consistency and time management skills, as well as manage emotions and the personality that will lead to success. So as we all know, being a great entrepreneur is more than just about the product or the business itself. It's also about helping the kid develop the character traits needed to be successful and sustainable. And I just heard in the last speaker mentioning about kids and purpose. And we found something very similar. You know, at a young age, they're still trying to figure out themselves and figure out what they want to do. And so we've had kids that come in, and this is often kind of funny, but we have kids that come and they start with a t-shirt, and then they see little Sally selling socks, and now they want to sell socks and they want to do this and that. And so this program gives them the flexibility to do that, right? And it's important to build the flexibility for them to change from one thing to another within the program, which is why we're not the biggest fan of pitching investors, although they do learn how to pitch and storytell. We more or less want to put them in environments for them to test out little different ideas and see what works. And so our first phase is called the Teen Biz Box. And we created this startup kit in a box for teens. We have 3 boxes to choose from. It comes with $150 of product inventory for youth to customize and sell. It is ceramic toasters, craft notebooks, and friendship bracelets. But inside the box is everything a kid needs to get started. There's business cards, there's permanent markers, there's stickers, stencils, a little sign, okay? Well, the reason we chose these 3 products is because we wanted to save parents a headache. And it's no mess, glue, or baking, so a kid can easily create products and whatever they need without the help of an adult. Okay, the next phase is Teen Biz Camp, and it's provided online and on site. We have summer camps, after school, 1 to 2 day workshop variations that help kids learn the necessary skills for entrepreneurship. And then after they've gone through their training, after they've created their products, and learned how to be an entrepreneur, then they are able to sell, set up in the stores and sell and make money. And this is where they begin to actually apply those lessons that they've learned and really see how this works. And if they have what it takes to make it work, right? They're also able to see if they like it or not. Because well, I can't tell you how many kids come in there like, I like this, but I don't. Or I like it, but I want to do it differently. Or this is much harder than we thought. Okay. And so here's some actual pictures of the Teen Biz box and the supplies we have inside. Again, there's ceramic coasters, craft notebooks, friendship bracelets, uh, and uh, craft notebooks, friendship bracelets, as well as all the supplies and products. And so you can see just kind of like a little display. It sets up like a little table display. They're able to use these supplies to design the product, and it comes with our workbook. So our methodology and why our program works is due to what we call LEAR, which stands for Learn, Earn, Apply, and Reward. Kids learn lessons, they earn money with the lessons they learn, they apply those lessons to their business, and then we reward them based on revenue goals and milestones. And it starts all over again. They're constantly learning, earning, applying what they learned, and being rewarded. So it motivates youth and builds positive habits for developing career skills for success. So back to entrepreneurship ecosystem. So our entrepreneurship ecosystem includes co-working space, makers space, classrooms, conference rooms, and a storefront with shelves for kids to rent and display their merchandise to customers. Now, I know you said rent, it's a very nominal fee, and we'll get into that in a second. But the mall itself is an ecosystem. And other stores have come into our stores to hire students as well as look at products that they can take to other stores. So it's very unique how the mall works. And full disclaimer, I worked in retail in the mall from about the ages of 15 to 22. I have worked in, I'll run you a list of the stores, but Victoria's Secret, JCPenney, Dillard's, I'm going to tell my age, but Montgomery Ward's, as well as Foot Action and Foot Locker. And I think I mentioned JCPenney. And what's interesting is I really saw this, really looked at this differently after that experience. Because if you walk around the mall, especially on the weekend, the majority of what you see is kids and young people anyway. So why not have a space for them there that allows them to make money and sell their products, communicate with peers, network, and really feel like an entrepreneur? So the store is designed so that we can teach Teen Biz Camp and have a place for youth to create products all on site. We're currently building an app to help kids create a wider variety of products, but for now we have the box, and they're able to use or to sell any product that they choose and create with their parents or family and friends. So this is what we're looking at doing in Macy's. As I mentioned, we're looking at a little longer term arrangement, something more permanent. We're still playing with ideas. Right now, we do a lot of pop-ups in Macy's stores, and particularly in their off-mall concept. So Macy's is testing out an off-mall concept, which is smaller stores called Macy's Backstage. They also have Market by Macy's. And so instead of the 250,000 square foot anchor store that you see in the large malls, they have these little 30 and 40 and 50,000 square feet retail stores that are outside of the mall in shopping centers. And so this is a way for Macy's to even test and expand what works as it relates to retail, being that retail is going through a change. But our condensed version of our store in partnership with Macy's will be for our top selling students. So I just mentioned malls going through a change, and I know that you guys are asking like, well, what about e-commerce? And what about the malls closing down? We're going to get into all of that, right? But adding experiential learning environments to entrepreneurship education is critical to ensuring that, again, the habits are there. The training is good, but the skills, they need to stick, okay? So I don't know how many of you are in education, but how many of you have taught a kid or student something and it seems like they go home and forget about it 5 minutes later or they don't remember? All right, so practical application of the skill demonstrates proof that it's understood and could be used repeatedly in the future. And oftentimes we think that just simple textbook knowledge of a topic means we can actually do it. But the reality is that being able to do it is what shows that you know it. Okay. So this is beyond theory. This is beyond ideation. This is to actually making it work. So now we're gonna dig a little bit more into this environment, this experiential learning environment that we all know and love, called the shopping mall. So is anybody here in this call that likes to go shopping in stores? Does anybody love shopping in stores? I'm about to say comment. Let's say comment yes if in the comments if you like shopping in stores. How many of you like to shop online? You don't really want to go to the stores. Anybody just like to shop online? Maybe. Okay. And how many of you just go to the mall to have something to do, right? It's something to do, really, when you think about it, because, sitting around bored at home, like, oh, we can go window shopping. That was my mom's favorite thing to do for me. Take me window shopping. And I would get excited about window shopping because it's like, there might be a chance I can get something, right? But for the most part, it was something to do. And so, has anybody ever looked at the mall and saw the classroom that it can be and the potential? Oops, I am so sorry. Let me switch this back. But has anybody ever looked at the mall and said, there is something here? Maybe this is, uh, there is something more to this experience. Um, Well, we have. And, you know, again, there is something more to it. And we're really excited about giving kids the opportunity. So, what we learned during COVID is that our desire to go in the shopping mall or retail doesn't really change. We as humans, we like it a lot, some of us. And of course, we can buy small things like our necessities and stuff that we use on a regular basis online or go to a simple store. And we can actually buy clothes online too. But the reality is that we really like to shop and we actually like stores. Okay. And again, it's really phenomenal. It's fascinating how that works. And again, we really thought before COVID that we could all live and work and play and earn and do everything online until it really happened. And we were like, you know what? I wouldn't mind going to the store, even if it was just something to do, right? And me, I really missed the mall. I was at home bored, like Jesus. There's something else my mom used to do. Like at night, sometimes I was bored. She'd take me to Walmart to walk around, and we don't even have 24-hour Walmarts anymore. It's really sad for me. All right. So that being said, we're going to talk about the future of the shopping mall. All right. So the future of shopping malls. So for all those that are like, isn't the mall dying? Yeah, no, it's actually not. Okay. They are going from what you see on the left, a little empty, broken, desolated, to this. All right. And this is a unique concept, what we call experiential retail. All right. So the future of shopping malls is an ongoing topic of debate, but malls are getting really innovative and really trying to figure out unique ways to make everything work. And my pointer is not working, but whatever. So there are a lot of technology advancements and unique things the mall is doing. And we're excited about that because, again, that just means they're going to stay in business. There's nothing to worry about. They're not going anywhere. All right. But what they'll look like and some of what you'll see available in the mall and as it relates to retail stores is going to change. So a lot of people don't know this, but the average retail store in a shopping mall earns somewhere between 360,000 to 2.1 million a year. All right. And that's depending on the size of the store. And on a factor that malls determine value at called sales per square foot. All right. So the average retail store size is somewhere between 600 and 3,500 square feet, really lands about 1,200. All right. And so it can be lucrative, but we're going to talk about some models and case studies and some things that have worked and didn't work in a minute. So experiential retail. What is experiential retail? Experiential retail refers to a retail strategy that focuses on providing customers with immersive and engaging experiences in addition to traditional product offerings. It goes beyond just going in the store and testing things and buying products. Okay. It is about going in the store and being entertained. It's an experience. All right. Experiential retail. It is all about providing a unique experience to shoppers. Why? Just to get you in the mall, just to get you to come back, to give you something to do, right? Because it's free to go in the mall. You just, if you walk out and don't spend any money, but if you're like me, you might spend 20 or 30. That being said, it was something to do. All right. It was something fun. It was unique. You want to go to the mall to see what unique exhibit or retail concept is in there this week. And that's what the goal and what malls are transitioning to stay innovative and stay alive. And it's working. All right. So safety concerns. So a lot of times people are like, well, is it safe? What about kids getting kidnapped? And it's pretty safe. Malls have security personnel, advanced surveillance systems. There's emergency procedures in place, lighting and visibility. There's first aid stations. There's child identification programs, and there's strict codes of conduct. Right. And anybody that's been in the mall any number of times or worked in the mall as I've had, we've seen people get kicked out the mall and escorted out the mall for not behaving themselves or for doing things that don't make sense. And we're not just talking about things breaking the law. Just being in the mall and being kind of rowdy can get you kicked out of the mall by security. All right. And they collaborate with local law enforcement. Very rarely do you walk through a mall and there's not a police officer in there somewhere with security. Okay. And those things make it a safer environment, as well as our superheroes here, Emma and Sophie, who are in the malls and everywhere, running around kicking butt, okay, in the name of youth entrepreneurship and kids. So the mall's a pretty safe space. Even during COVID, when it opened back, it was a few, there was a few conversations that, made the news about you can go to the mall because it's so big, it's not hard to stay 6 feet away from people. Okay, so if you're bored once the malls open back up, it was people coming in there with the mask on. All right. And again, it wasn't super crowded, but on the weekends it was. It was hard for us to tell we were in COVID because I was like, look at this mall, look at all the traffic. It was really interesting. All right. So, pop quiz. Can somebody tell me what is experiential retail? Somebody unmute your mic and tell me what is experiential retail.
I think this is so cool. So, I mean, I'm looking at this like I go to the mall, I get to walk around, I get to, maybe surf, like on a surfboard. And I think that's so cool because we talk about, as educators, we talk about experiential learning all the time. And so this is like, you're literally, I think this is such a cool concept. You're going into the mall and there's a place for you to go and you actually can practice your entrepreneurship and it's in a safe place and like all kinds of different things are going on around. I mean, I want to go to that mall. I want to go.
Right. And then you've got shoppers, you got people there too, right? So it works. It works out. And thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate it. So exactly, experiential retail is innovative, immersive, and engaging retail experiences. All right. No matter what the store is, whether you're in the store with us, whether you're going to Nordstrom's or to J.C. Penney's, when you go into the mall, and I bet y'all are going to be looking now for those engaging and immersive retail experiences. Y'all are going to be going to the mall for the whole purpose of seeing which stores have experiential retail so that y'all can, say you learned something, right? I taught you something today. All right, so let's look at some case studies and some models beyond Trailblaze that help kids earn money, all right, and that had some kind of retail part to it, because this is where things are going to get really interesting. All right, So we have three stores: Beta, Mighty, and Acton's Children's Fair. Has everyone heard of Acton's? I'm pretty sure. Acton Children's Fair is one of the most popular in the country. It's huge. And so I'm excited to share a little bit more about Beta and Mighty for those that don't know. However, Beta wasn't for kids. Beta was for adults. So it's a beautiful retail store with new inventions and gadgets by entrepreneurs around the world. You could go into Beta and like tinker with the stuff you would actually see on like QVC or the Home Shopping Network. And Beta is so cool. They raised $100 million in 5 years to expand. But again, the store design was beautiful. They had 22 locations globally. So challenges. For one, it was a for-profit model. All right. And in my theory is that for-profit models of this do not work. And we'll talk about why that is in a minute. The second challenge is they had expensive permanent leases in the mall. Okay. And a lot of people don't know that you can get a specialty lease in the mall. You do not have to lock yourself into a permanent, ridiculous arrangement just because you're in the mall. A lot of people don't know that. I'll talk to you about that today too. The third thing about Beta is they depended heavily on mall traffic for marketing, which is not a problem. But in the event, as the situation of COVID, as we all saw, wasn't a lot of traffic there. So then how do you get people in? All right. And then, retail stores had to start being creative because we couldn't just depend on mall traffic. The next two issues is that they grew too fast because they raised $100 million and then built 22 locations globally. Like they had 4 stores in other countries. And so you've got expensive leases, global stores, and then COVID happens, right? And COVID essentially killed Beta. They had a hard time to renegotiate leases because of the property the mall owner they were working with. Unfortunately, for them, it was not Brookfield Property Group, because if they had Brookfield, they would have survived. I can share that. And I do not work for Brookfield, but they have shown us lots of love. And I know that in certain mall owners, they would have survived. But unfortunately, they didn't. One of the co-founders of Beta is on our board of directors. So I got insight into what happened, as well as some really good advice to lean on to help us make this happen and do it right. So then we have Mighty. All right. So for everybody that was thinking, well, why can't we just do this online? Mighty. So Mighty was an online drop shipping platform that helped kids specifically start a business with an online store. They raised $8 million in 2 years. It was connected to Printify for product creation, had over 10,000 kids signed up. And I really, really liked this one. I had a profile and I would recommend kids for it for everything. And it shut down last year in October 2023. Again, for-profit model. There was no training courses about entrepreneurship, costly product inventory for you to order or just have products on hand for Printify. And it was really easy for Etsy or Shopify to create the same solution. If you think about it, all Etsy had to do was saying, okay, we're going to have where kids can come and start a store and connect it. And it would have been a competitor. But I'll tell you who did compete, and it was social media. TikTok and Instagram became competitors when they opened the shop feature, where you can go on TikTok and create a little store, and Instagram. And for kids, that was a smash hit. So if I can just sell my products off TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, why do I need to create a website and go through all of this challenging stuff? And so they pivoted towards fundraising for schools to attract kids. And so they started connecting with the schools and said, hey, come to Mighty and you can launch a really cool online fundraiser for school, and the proceeds will go to school, your school, or you could pocket it. They had some really unique things on the back end where they even were connected with Capital One for the kids to create bank accounts. However, again, like I said, it shut down. So for all those that was wondering, well, this can work online. Experience. I want to go back to that word. That word keeps coming up. Even when you think about retail, everything cannot be done online. All right. And the on-site, in-person experience is worth a lot to humans. Okay. The other thing I'll point out that we learned during COVID is just because kids know how to navigate social media does not mean that they can work and learn online. Those two do they are not mean. There are two different types of skills. Okay. And so although it was good ideally, the reality of it is it didn't work. And $8 million is a lot of money to raise for this to just not work, right? So last we have Acton Children's Business Fair, which is the closest thing that we have found to a working model. It is nonprofit. There's 1,800 fairs nationally, draws huge crowds. Youth earn money and learn lessons, and it's one of the oldest concepts out there. However, it's mostly for a younger audience, often outside. It's easy because all shoppers are there to support kids. It's only 1 or 2 days, not consistent way for kid entrepreneurs to make money, but it is a great concept. Now, let me touch on easy. All right. And here is another unique thing about being in the mall versus something like this. And again, for little kids, this is cute. This is cool. What Acton does. However, for older kids, they don't necessarily need an easy experience. They need a real one. And the reality is, entrepreneurship is hard. Learning sales is hard. Talking to customers and people you don't know is hard. And so, the benefit is when people go to a mall, you're not going to the mall to see kids. You're going to the mall to shop and do other things. Your mind is somewhere else. So, when teens have the skills to sell you when you're in the mall and you're not coming there specifically for them, that makes the skill real, right? That tells you that they really know what they're doing. The business fairs is cool for the experience and to make them help kids earn money, but it's not real enough because everybody that's coming is coming to support kid entrepreneurs. They're coming to see them specifically. For them to be able to sell an environment where people are not coming to see you that day, that's a sales skill, right? And a much harder one at that. So, pop quiz. What is experiential retail and what models did we discuss? And what were some of the challenges? And what challenge did you see? You might have seen another challenge. So I want y'all to share. Unmute yourself. Tell us pop quiz, what's experiential retail, and what models did we discuss and some of the challenges and what challenges that you saw. Anybody that wants to mute your mic and share.
I will. I really am fascinated. I can't wait for you to talk about the reason for the nonprofit and why the for-profit didn't work. But that is you're absolutely spot on when you talk about the, that real experience that kids have when someone's coming to this place and not expecting a youth market there. I think that really makes that relevant experience hit home.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so, so challenges between nonprofit and for-profit. Here's my theory. As a nonprofit, you're able to generate income for other ways, right? What's great about us and what we've discovered as a nonprofit is having sustainable earned revenue streams is key to our survival. However, if we were for profit, we wouldn't be able to raise money from grants, sponsors, or get donations. So people would come in the mall, they would tip. Then, like I said, we're able to access different sorts of funding that a for-profit business cannot access. So that's my theory of why it didn't work, because they only had to depend on sales and revenue, kids or people earning money. The business had to earn money from the mall environment. If you do this from a nonprofit perspective, you don't have to earn money from the mall environment. You can raise money from the community to support the kids and, let the kids keep more of the money in their pocket. So we would charge a nominal fee for rent. It was somewhere between $100 and $150 a month. But we guaranteed the kids would make $300. Okay. And on average, we'd saw about $500 a month. And kids would come in and be there just on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, although their products would be on display in the store 7 days a week. They may only be able to come in the evenings or on weekends. And we made it mandatory that each kid has to come in and work 1 day a week. All right. This is your business. We do not work for you. Right. So, the ability for you to be able to access, again, external sources of funding and nonprofit sources of funding is why I feel like they did not work. That's what I feel like the difference is. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So, learning objectives for youth entrepreneurs, obviously, communication skills, sales skills, confidence, workplace etiquette, store management, customer service, and my personal favorite, visual merchandising. All right. So again, I worked in retail from the age of 15 to 22. But my high school, I worked in every retail store in the mall. I went from store to store. Why? Because if you worked in a retail store, you got employee discounts. And so you would get like 30, 35% off anything in the store. And oftentimes they had employee discounts for mall employees in other stores. So you could go to the food court, eat at a discount if you worked at the mall. And then some stores would have days just for mall employees to come in and you would get discounted stuff. And again, I like to shop. So this is right up my alley. But also, I enjoyed the process. I like talking to people. I love products. And so it was just ideal for me. But again, it's beyond me. This is about kids. And so, even as you think about grocery, fast food, or restaurants, that is all retail environments. And so whether a kid wants to start a restaurant or, sell cookies or whatever, retail is an experience that encompasses all of that. The customer service skills are crucial. Another thing that we noticed is that there were a lot of times that kids would be, talking to customers or customers would come in the store and they were not comfortable talking to people outside of their age range or their cultural background. And the mall really helped them to break down that communication barrier. It really helped challenge them to step outside of their comfort zone and begin talking to people. And in a world where we all run around focused on this all the time, right? And technology and on our phones, connecting to other people and just communicating for these kids, so a lot of them is difficult. And we didn't realize that until we saw it in the store. And so even these kids, and I've seen other programs judge pitch competitions for other nonprofits, you know, and these kids talk and they get up and tell a great story. They have all this confidence in their business. But imagine them being in an environment where people kind of ignore them, reject them, the rejection, even sometimes the criticism or just the negative feedback can really be daunting for adults, even more so for kids. But guess what? It is the reality entrepreneurship. Okay. And you've got to be able, you got to build that grit. You got to build that thick skin. The mall helped them to do that, and again, at school and in these pitch competitions, they're great. But again, some of the reason why these kids don't go on and build business after high school is because they really are not prepared to do so. They're not prepared to face that rejection and criticism. They're not prepared to be told no. And that's because the program didn't teach them that. But how to really teach them that has been a challenge until we establish Trailblaze Shop. All right. So, pop quiz. What is experiential retail? What models did we discuss and challenges, and what objectives should you learn? I'm trying to see if y'all are paying attention. As y'all can see, I'm a teacher, so I'm a teacher first. So, mute your mic, pop quiz, share with us your answers. Anybody?
I would go with the objectives. Some of the objectives, which you do, I think it's talking about that the young entrepreneurs will learn would be like communication skills, being able to talk to the customers and build their confidence and connect customer service and workplace etiquette.
Yes. Good job. Thank you for sharing. Y'all give her a hot applause. Y'all give her a hand. All right. So, and I think there's one more pop quiz. So y'all be ready. All right. All right. So now we're on top two. We're going to get down to business. Top 5 steps to build an experiential learning environment in retail. All right. So this is how you can do this too. And we can, I'm always open to discuss partnership opportunities, as well as there's been orgs that just call me in and say, hey, help us do this right. So I want to share with you some 5 steps, the 5 steps to doing this, and probably the easiest way to do it. All right, step one, choose a diverse, high traffic environment in a community with discretionary cash flow to spend on shopping. All right. I'm I'm gonna say this gently, okay? But I think the reality is here is that there are certain communities where people have the money to spend to buy products from kids that may cost $20 or $30. Although we like the idea of economic development in low income communities, I'm a huge fan of it. I love to see when programs go and communities are revitalized. You know, some of these communities are gentrified too. The other side of that is oftentimes these kids' products aren't going to be too cheap. They're going to be 20 and $30. These kids got rent to pay. Okay, they're a real business owner. Even that's nominal rent, they have rent to pay and they need money. So putting programs like this in communities where the people surrounding the community can afford to support it is important. Okay. Um, Pro tips though are pay attention to the demographics of the mall that you are considering. Okay. We've had requests to do this store in several malls that were low performing in lower income communities. And ideally, it sounded good. It would have been cheap, free rent, da da da. No, because the kids aren't going to make money. And guess what? If kids aren't making money, they're not going to want to come in the store. And if they don't come in the store, we don't make money. And it's a domino effect. It's a whole bunch of things that happen as a result of us either A, having no traffic, or B, being a community where nobody really can afford to spend money. We don't want to put that burden on people who are struggling to survive. All right. So, whereas in different communities, they will come and support these kids and would love it. They can go in their own backyard and support a kid one day, get some cool products, and give back to the community. The kids would keep 90% of the income from their business. And then, like I said, they also would pay rent. But if somebody came in and paid them cash for something, they got to put that money in their pockets. All right. And so, that's a great way to support the community would be just coming to our retail store. Okay. And so again, consider the demographics of the mall that you are choosing. Step two, partner with organizations in the community to collaborate on use of the shop. Make it a classroom and a meeting space for the whole community of nonprofits in your area. Use the mall to recruit students, and don't be afraid of the level of difficulty for kids, okay? They'll get told no 500 times. They'll be all right, okay? They will live, I promise. In fact, for some of them, it makes and motivates them because they really, really start trying because they're like, I just knew this was a cool t-shirt. I just knew this was a great design. So why is no one buying it today? Somebody's going to buy my stuff. And they get out there and they get determined. I had a kid that used to literally walk around the mall and he was older, just mind you, he wasn't a kid. He was like 16, 17. But he would walk around the mall with flyers and get customers into the store. Start talking to people that he found in his target market and bring them back to the store. And he sold out every weekend. Every weekend he would sell out and leave my shelf half empty to the point I'd have to fuss at him because I can't have empty shelves in a store in the mall. Okay. But I was so proud, and I used to be conflicted. Like, I don't know whether to be proud at you to fuss at you. You got to leave something on the shelf, right? But more importantly, it was about the motivation he had. You're just amazing, amazing. He's doing really good. He's in his freshman year of college this year. So we're so proud of him. Step three, recruit an amazing group of parents and grandparents to volunteer. Look, we would not have made it if it was not for parents, right? Parents were everything. They helped with everything, and staffing and customer service role can be challenging. Don't get discouraged. But real quick pop quiz, and I'm curious as to how many of y'all know the answer to this. If you know, unmute your mic and share. If you don't know, that's fine. I'll tell you. But how much do you think the average store manager of a luxury retail store in the mall makes a year? How much do you think the average salary for a luxury retail store manager in the mall? Does anybody guess? And mute your mic, give me a guess.
40 grand.
Okay, anybody else have another guess?
Ooh, Amber's really going the other direction with that.
Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. The average salary of a luxury retail store manager is 100 to 130,000 a year. And a lot of people are like, what? I'm like, look, the store manager of Walmart makes $400,000 a year. There's a lot of money in retail as a career path. Okay. Oftentimes you're taught and you think about just the people on the front end, you know, those that are in the store working, and those are lower income jobs, etc. But once you get into executive roles, and the CEO of Walgreens was making 28 million a year with stock options. That's the CEO. But the store manager, okay, this is another cool fun fact a lot of people don't realize, and I'm just talking about this as relates to staff and customer service. Whenever restaurants, franchise restaurants, I don't know if any of you have seen Undercover Boss, one of my favorite shows. Oftentimes, the person next in line for franchise ownership is who? The store manager. All right. So, store managers and store management skills for kids, even though this is entrepreneurship, they are getting the best of both worlds. They can take this and literally, they are qualified to be store manager at any one of these restaurants or retail stores after they graduate. And these stores would love it because they always hire, especially around Christmas. Okay. So again, this is an amazing opportunity for the kids to develop customer service and store management skills, as well as other people in the community. But it is hard to recruit, but there are benefits and there is upside to it. So don't allow our misconceptions of what really working in retail means. Because like I said, there's people working in retail at the store, and the store manager that's making $120,000 a year. That's $10,000. All right. Step 4, malls have specialty leasing opportunities, which is a fraction of the cost of a long-term lease space. So for all those who are thinking like, isn't that expensive? Isn't that rent expensive? Yeah, if we were in a permanent store, okay, and in the next to the food court where there's the most traffic. So malls have a tiered system, meaning that the retail stores that are located in the areas with the highest traffic are the most expensive, right? They're also harder to get long-term leases on because the mall it's incentivized to provide short-term scarcity leases, right? And what that means is, like, I'll use our example of our store in the Galleria. So we had a 2,600 square foot space in Galleria, Houston, next to Saks Fifth Avenue, right above the Coach store, and right next door to Beta, coincidentally. And that store, the permanent lease rent for that store was $20,000 a month. If we were have it permanently, maybe 5-year lease, etc. We were paying, our rent was $3,000 a month, okay, for that store. And it was a temporary arrangement. What the temporary arrangements are is that you technically hold that space until a permanent tenant comes along. Sometimes that takes years. Sometimes it happens in a few months. Either way it goes, the mall will move you to another store, pretty much equal to what you just moved from. They'll help you move in everything. Now, in on the opposite, that sounds like, oh, well, I would have to move. Yeah, you would have to move. But again, this is why you have to be creative with your decor. So pro tip, decorate in phases and be creative with the space. Use IKEA and Walmart, okay? Don't start off going and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on fixtures because you may have to move it, all right? This is a slow go strategy. So I mentioned earlier, sales per square foot, right? So sales per square foot, paying rent gets you in the mall, but sales per square foot keeps you there. What does that mean? It means the more money you make, the more valuable your store, the more valuable the mall wants to keep you. If your store is barely making money, they're like, at your lease expires, they're going to be trying to move you to an area where there's no traffic and all of that kind of stuff. And you don't want to end up there. So make sure that you have a store that's generating money, that you have products that are good products, good quick kids, and that you've got events and a lot of stuff going on to constantly keep people coming in the mall to your store. And the mall management will love you. And you can pretty much at that point cherry pick and go wherever you want. Okay. Say you're in a store in a space that you really don't like. When another one opens up that's in a more lucrative location or a busier location, you can go to the management and say, hey, can I move down there? All right. And they'll probably let you. All right. The other great awesome a great opportunity we got with Brookfield is we're guaranteed the use of whatever store we choose for 2 years, and they cover 100% of the cost of our build outs. So if we have to move, they pay for it. They pay for the store. A build out can easily cost $50,000 to $100,000. Ours averaged 30,000 for our build outs when we built inline. That being said, they were lots of fun to do. And again, we're nonprofit, so we can offset that cost. We can raise money to build out the store. We're not dependent on retail sales to help support and build our stores. There's lots of ways we can do this, all right? It's the flexibility of being a nonprofit. But we also knew the purpose of the mall, which is the goal was to generate traffic, build a following that we could then take with us anywhere. If we decided not to be in the mall, that would be fine. We'd have the traffic and a following to take wherever we choose to move our store, right? But that being said, step 4, malls have special use leasing. I would add to this and say, really know how to leverage the potential of the mall, okay? Don't go into it thinking you're going to be there forever or being inflexible. Leverage the potential. The malls generate billions of dollars. They see tens of millions of people a year. Okay, do you know how much it would cost to drive to get 5 million people on your website in a year? Okay, do you have any idea how much that would cost you? All right, and so the advantage of being in an environment that's already doing that kind of traffic is amazing. The potential is there. And on top of that, this is traffic that's coming with the goal to spend money on something, right? Whether they say they're window shopping, but again, if you're like me, you go in there, you're like, I ain't gonna buy nothing, and then $100 later, you're like, all right, I'm not buying nothing else. I shouldn't even went to the mall today. This was a bad idea. All right. That being said, know how to leverage the mall. Okay. And step 5, my personal favorite, hire an expert to help you if possible. So here's the thing. There were no experts to doing this when I started. And so I did not know somebody or resource where you could get nonprofit advice, funding, business advice, retail, running education. It was so many skill sets. I was like, oh, Lord, how I had mentors for every little thing and still do. And a mentor can help you, but some of what you need may take a lot of time. All right. This is a big undertaking, but if done right, the rewards are endless for youth, as well as the community that you serve. You got a place where people in the community can come support kids in the community every weekend on a regular basis. People love that. The news loves it. Okay, they love to come get our kids and interview on the news, to the point I had to start telling them some of them no, because they really thought they were famous in their head. Like they really thought they were famous. I was like, no, we do not make famous kids. That's not the goal. All right. But that being said, the kids that earn that opportunity, that's who we're there for, and who we want to support. All right. So pop quiz and final. What are 3 of the steps? Can someone unmute and tell us what is 3 of the steps before we wrap up? Give me 3 of the steps. Just 3. Anybody? Anybody? Maybe no. Maybe not. Okay. So step 1, leverage the mall. Hire help if needed. Okay. Study the demographics. Know the demographics surrounding the mall. I should have a recap. Recruit an amazing group of parents and volunteers to help, and partnering with organizations. Those are the 5 steps. All right. So where can I find help and funding? Obviously, I'm here. I'm at your service. I'm all about pop-ups and entrepreneurship and education and all the steps from store operations to mall management, store options, design, branding, all of it. I've been there. I've done it. I got the t-shirt, the postcard, and a hat. All right. So now Q&A, you are willing to ask me anything. I know we are short on time, but if anybody has any questions, my contact information is listed Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you learned something new. I hope this was fun. I hope this was engaging. And thank you for letting me share.
Yay. Thank you, Crystal. This is so fascinating to me. I'm like getting my mind blown, and I keep going off camera because I have a sick child at home and we're just kind of doing that dance today. But this is so interesting. And I know if we did this in person that you would be holding up the whole conference because people would be asking you questions.
That's happy.
Um, I just have one quick question though. So how do you market? Are you marketing this to the students directly or to parents directly or organizations or all of the above? Like where is your target market that you're able to bring in the students? And I also love the fact that you step this through. So it's kind of like you start with the Teen Biz box and then step them up to the store, which is awesome. But how do you get folks just pull them in for that first Teen Biz box?
Sure. So we do a lot of marketing online and social media. So our box, we just redesigned the whole box and everything so that matches the workbook because initially the workbook is new, the box is new. So we just finished redesigning, but we have a really awesome social media and digital marketing strategy as well as influencers. So we're using influencers. We are currently sending out boxes to tons of micro influencers, not the big ones, not big celebrities, but micro influencers as parents on social media and have them do an unboxing and a whole setup of the entire box and how it works on social media. So
Cool.
that's one of our strategies, as well as we do giveaways. We actually do 1 and 2 day workshops with the box. So we'll go into a classroom or a school. So primarily we target our primary target market, blah, 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 is moms ages 35 to 55, right? However, we're able to do a lot in groups with the schools. Although we are not a in-school entrepreneurship program, I mean, we don't contract with any schools. We are exclusive. We are after school, summer only, all right? We partner with organizations that do serve youth entrepreneurships in the school, like Nifty, Junior Achievement. We've done some work with different youth entrepreneurship organizations to help add value. But essentially, we can take the boxes, give all the kids a box, do a 2-day workshop, have them go through the classes the first day. The second day is the marketplace or pop-up. And we pretty much just have everybody sit their tables up and get creative. And so the kids are able to see then, oh, this is cool. Okay, the boxes are $75. It comes with our box. And again, up to $150 in product inventory. So that's typically how we market and get them sold.
That's so cool. And I think I can say for everyone else that's on here that does try to service directly the K through 12 market, smart, sister, smart. It's the K through 12 getting into schools is just a whole ball of fun.
It's a very bureaucratic, challenging thing. We've had a lot of success with homeschool organizations too.
Yeah.
And another overlooked, and I'm sharing this with you, another overlooked community that of parents and kids that need resources and oftentimes don't get it is military families.
Yep.
There are organizations of military families, especially moms, that move around and follow their husband as they're getting stationed, and their kids just, have to schools. Mom needs support, kids need support. They need something to do, just like homeschool. Church ministries as well has been a very cool market for us. So we're everywhere schools are not, to be gentle and how I say that. Like if the school doesn't work with us, we're fine with that. I mean, I probably didn't want to go through the headache to get that funding anyway. However, workforce, I got government funded to test this concept out for 3 years. And it came from Workforce Solutions because your country's workforce is trying to figure out how to incorporate entrepreneurship and the gig economy into workforce and trying to figure out how to create policy around it, how to create a system that works and includes it. And so we were one of the programs that they funded to kind of let us test it out and see what it works and how it worked. We had lots of success with that, working with out of school youth ages 14 to 24. So, you know, it's been a lot of fun going and seeing all of the different places this could be applied, as well as the different demographics that need it. It's gone through a few transitions as well.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you for coming. This